Hey everybody, this is TJ from New Mexico coming to you from TJ Talks on Thursday night. I'm going to go with the T's, Tuesday and Thursday, but I'm also going to do Sundays, but they don't really match. So it's STT. Okay, our guest is here. Good evening, sir. How are you tonight? Can you hear me?
Yeah, hang tight.
Okay.
View, gallery view. How about we'll do a gallery view? Yes, I can hear you.
Gallery view. I wonder if I can put you in that because it says manage participants. I already invited you. So I started my recording thing. I was just doing my little introduction that I'm TJ from New Mexico and it's TJ Talks on Thursday night. And I just want to introduce my guest then. I am Mr. Len Mooney from Baja, California, who is my mentor and friend and has got me into my current journey in my current businesses. And tonight I'm just going to have him tell us all his story of what he used to do and why he got into what he's into and all that good stuff. He's very knowledgeable in the field of online business. He's a published author of what, 2 books at least?
Oh,
2 or 3 books.
Probably
2 or 3
about
books.
15.
He's an accomplished master diver, a pilot, a snow skier. I mean, if I could do half the stuff this guy would do, I'd die happy. So I'm just gonna let Mr. Len Mooney take over and just tell us his story.
Yeah, but TJ, we all have our vices and our virtues. Here, you do all this like martial arts stuff that I can't do. So
Yeah, I have my things. I was just edifying you.
but thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. So this is totally completely unrehearsed. So I'm coming in like, what do you want me to do? What would you like? How much?
Well, like, what was your
like
background before I got an email from you for online business? What did you do as a professional or an employee? Were you an employee or?
Well, let's rewind all the way back to being a young teenager and come forward now. We'll do this very quick, but I grew up in the traditional go to work, get a job, retire when you're 65 environment. I remember my grandmother sitting at the kitchen table saying, grow up and get a good education and get a good job, become a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer. And so it was this whole business of becoming an employee was what was driven into me as a child. And so I went on to college. I was a good boy. I went to college. I became an electrical engineer, got a master's in EE, started working on my PhD in applied physics, moved out to California, got a job, a good job by my grandmother's standards. And I was working my way up the ladder, the corporate ladder, if you like. I had a wife and 2 kids. The short version of the story is my wife and I were divorced, and she remarried, and she went to North Carolina with her new husband. I was in California, but she left a couple of things behind. One of them was in 1st grade and the other one was in 3rd grade. She left the kids and moved across the country, which turned me into a single parent. So for 14 years, I was a single parent and I had no support. There was no in-law, aunt, uncle, nobody within hundreds of miles of me that I could rely on. So I had to take care of the kids. And that's when I figured out that having a job and having kids were not compatible with each other. You can't be it's very hard to be a single parent and have a job. So I started into home-based business. This goes back, 30 years, but I started as a home-based business. And that's how I got started. And notice I said home-based business. I didn't say network marketing because that wasn't my first excursion into home-based business. But that's how I got started.
Awesome. But before you got started, I mean, when you had the wife, before she left, were you into home-based business then
No,
with your family?
no. I was in this government laboratory on these big high-profile programs. I was a project engineer on a $100 million machine being built as a line item to Congress. So I had climbed the ranks fairly rapidly into significant management positions.
Were you able to, how many years were you able to do doing that?
Well, I was with the government lab for 13 years
Okay.
total. But when the kids came to live with me, I quickly realized that it wasn't going to work. And I made the decision to quit my corporate job and get into home-based business. And my initial home-based business was literally a home-based business. I had a home, I had a company I worked for. But I wasn't an employee. I was freelance, working on commissions.
Okay. And so when you
But
found yourself as a single papa and you did home-based business and everything like that, how many or what type of home-based business did you do?
initially, I was in outdoor sales, outside sales. I was a sales rep for a company, and they were in Southern California. I was in Northern California, and I had a home office. But then as the years went by, and the kids grew, I remarried, and that's where network marketing begins to come into the equation, because my wife's brother-in-law, my second wife, her brother-in-law came out from Chicago, and he drew circles on a piece of paper. Ever seen one of those presentations, the napkin presentation, circles on the paper?
Oh yes, I saw the whiteboard presentation.
Well, and he was my wife's, like I say, he was my wife's brother-in-law. So he convinced us. Well, I was never really convinced, but let me just say he arm twisted us to signing on the dotted line and joining him in this venture. And that was our first excursion into network marketing. And then he got on an airplane and went back to Chicago. And there we are. We're sitting in California. We're going, okay, now what do we do? Well, the reality is that didn't work out real well. We didn't make a heck of a lot of money, but we did have a lot of soap in our garage. That was back in the early Amway days, and this was prior to dropshipping. Federal Express didn't exist. The internet didn't exist. Those were in the early network marketing days. It was all belly to belly. You talked to, if someone got within 3 feet of you and they were breathing, you talked to them. Hey, you use laundry detergent, don't you? Mine's better than yours. Buy mine. That was the early days of network marketing.
Awesome. So we've known each other a while now, and I know that you're a pilot. I mean, how did that come about?
Well, it just came about out of personal interest. The same way I became a scuba diver. I just wanted to dive. In fact, if I go back to college, I actually had wanted to go to the military and fly single engine fighters. And I was in ROTC in college, and I'd taken all the entrance exams for officer candidate school and the Air Force Flight Academy. And I'd actually been accepted to OCV, but this was in the Vietnam War. And but I did the typical teenage thing, you know. I fell into lust in the backseat of a car to drive and thought it was love, made a baby, and got married. And that was the end of my going to the Air Force and becoming a pilot. Now I had to go to work and support a kid and a wife.
Yes.
So you know, but so I had always wanted to fly. If I could go back to my early childhood days and recreate my dream job, it was to be an astronaut.
Ah,
And in those days, the entrance to the astronaut program was single-engine fighter pilots with a degree in science, engineering, or physics. And I was getting my degrees in engineering and physics for exactly that reason. I'd already been accepted to officer candidate school, and I was on my way to the Air Force.
so since the Air Force didn't work out, but you did have the prerequisites to be a pilot, you became a pilot anyway.
Well, I became a pilot anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you had told me that you actually had a flight school for a while.
Well, I did. I own California Flight Academy out here it's in El Cajon, at Gillespie Field. I owned it for, we fast forwarded now a bunch of years, but I bought it in 2003 and sold my interest in it in 2011. So, yeah. So, I mean, over the years, I've had traditional businesses, brick and mortar businesses. I've been in network marketing. I've been in other forms of home-based business. I mean, I worked as just a freelance consultant for a couple of years. I had business cards that said, I gave myself the name Lentronics. And so that was just part of my life. But I've been around network marketing on and off for a number of years. And probably the most interesting thing for your readers, I'm going to guess, is that when I owned the flight school, now put this in perspective. 2003, I bought this little dinky hole-in-the-wall flight school here in San Diego, and we grew it to, in 2008, it was a $5 million business. I had 120 students, 20, I'm forgetting the numbers now, it doesn't matter, about 30 instructors and about 30 airplanes. That was in 2008. By 2010, we had less than 20 students, from 120 down to 20. We'd sold off 25 of the airplanes, went from 30 airplanes to 5, and I had 2 instructors left out of 30 instructors. That was the financial implosion in 2008. Took us down to the ground. And there was nothing I did wrong. It was that the world quit flying. Nobody had any money. The bankruptcy rate went through the roof. 40 million people lost their jobs in 2008, 2009. The airlines lost $13 billion. I think it was 2009 was the year that the number was $13 billion for the airlines worldwide. They just imploded. So the important message there, and the reason I bring this up, is because there's a teaching point here. The important message, 2 important messages, if you look at that whole story. One is the 40-40-40 lifestyle is over, finished, done. We can't teach young people to grow up, get a good job, go to work for 40 years and retire on 40% of the salary that they can't live on already. It doesn't work anymore. And the next thing is that even having your own brick and mortar business doesn't give you any real cushion or guarantees that you can survive financially, whatever the economy throws at you. And so I'm back in, excuse me, I'm back in network marketing again, and so are you. And why is that? Because it really is the one way that you can say yes to yourself, and you can build a lifestyle that pretty much protects you against the vagaries of the government and the economies. I was just reading an article today. 225 million, I think is the number, 225 million jobs have been lost since COVID started. 225 million jobs are gone. And right now, today, the government The government put a program in place. In fact, I've got a friend who's a victim of this. The government put a program in place that landlords could not evict tenants for non-payment of rent during the COVID crisis. But what they never did is protect the landlords. My landlord, my friend, has lost almost $30,000 on a rental property because his tenants aren't paying the rent, they're not paying their utilities, and there's nothing he can do about it. So
Yes.
the foreclosure rate is about to go through the roof because we're coming off those restrictions. And there's estimated to be 40,000 people are going to be moved out of their house onto the lawn in the next coming months. And how are those people going to take care of themselves?
Yes.
The jobs are gone. The mortgage protection is gone. What are they going to do?
Yes, I think that's one of the reasons why I got into that stuff too, when you got a hold of me in 2018. But I've been fortunate in that I've been able to keep a full-time job even during the stuff going on and everything like that, and haven't been laid off or anything. So I'm very blessed.
Right.
So let me see what I want to ask you about. So what type of networking things, I mean, since the internet started, I'm sure that you probably were afraid of the internet when it first came out at first, or were you one of these guys that loves new technology and you jumped right on it and learned everything you could?
It's a little bit of both. I am an early adopter in many ways, but I also, in working for myself, back when the internet was really sort of winding up, I was working for myself out of home, and I had a couple of companies that were clients of mine, and I began to build websites for these companies. And originally, my original websites, the first ones I ever built, were pure HTML code. I mean, there was nothing like what we have today. Oh my God, what we have today is phenomenal compared to what we had back then. But I got involved in website building and things like that to try to help out the companies that I was working with. And I think we all recognized in the 1990s, 2000, 2010, in that time frame, we all recognized that the world was changing. I mean, we were carrying around cell phones in our hand. Now, the cell phone weighed 10 pounds and literally was as big as a box, but it was a cell phone. The technology was evolving very rapidly. So I got involved in it. And I think I recognized where we were going. I don't think I recognized how fast we were going to get there.
Yes, yes. So you've had vision then. You have great vision. You can see things when it's a good thing. You kind of see beyond what's right in front of you.
I'd like to believe I have a little vision.
Yeah.
But I have
Awesome.
I have a lot of technology background too. So.
Well, yes, if you're you're an aeronautical engineer or?
I am an electrical engineer with all the coursework for a PhD in applied physics.
Okay, so electronic and engineering physics.
Yeah.
Cool. So you've got over 20 years, you'd say, in like home-based business?
If I truly answered that question, I'd have to tell you how old I am.
Okay, we won't let you date yourself.
Let me just say that it's a lot of years.
Yeah. So since you just gave me that,
interspersed with other things. I don't want to mislead you or people. I haven't been home-based business continuously. I went into home-based business, I raised the kids, then I went back to corporate America, then I got laid off, then I bought my own company, a plumbing company, and then I dissolved that, and then I was a freelancer for a while, then I bought the flight school, then I got back in the home-based business. So I've got a colorful history of various ways of making money.
awesome. I think you have more than I do. I mean, I went that 40-40-40 route. with the military in between because I wanted to see the world. So I did that and then started my college trying to get a career. Couldn't get my initial career later on. But this statistic you gave me about the 225 million jobs that have been lost, I mean, in your opinion, do you think working from online or home-based business, whatever it would be, probably could be very beneficial with people that have, you know, because a lot of jobs I hear aren't coming back either.
Well, they're not coming back. I mean, I just read an article yesterday or the day before that Kmart has now gone to 100% free checkout. We have become employees of Kmart. We all check out our own food now. All those people, all those checkers are gone, and they're not coming back. McDonald's, if you go into McDonald's, and not that I go into McDonald's very often, don't get me wrong, but if you go into McDonald's, you order your stuff. You don't talk to a human being anymore. There's a box there, and you order your stuff from the box. And they're experimenting with robots that make pizzas and robots that flip hamburgers, and you know, the world's changing. And I mean, any job can be done by a machine, automated, I believe, is going to be done by a machine. It's going to be automated. And so those people need new skills. They need a new way of doing things. And the sad reality is many of them are waiting until the furniture is moved out the front door and they're sitting on the lawn. I saw a YouTube video today of a woman being evicted. It was what we were talking about, a woman being evicted, and she's been evicted out of her house, and she slept in her car last night because she's got no place to go and no money to go anywhere with. And the sad reality is that there are many people that are waiting until that sad reality is upon them to try to do something, and now it's too late. Because as you know, in order to start a home-based business, you need a little bit of capital, a little bit, not much, but you need something.
Yes. And that's a great one there to kind of end on, because I know you had a class you wanted to go to at in like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And I just appreciate you being my first guest on here, my first attempt at interviewing somebody. I'm not trying to be like a newscaster or nothing like that. I'm just trying different things out because I like to go live because it's easier for me and stuff like that. So thank you for coming on. And
great. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll post this. I'm going to post it in my Facebook profile, in my YouTube channel, and then I'll send you your own private link to do with whatever you want.
Awesome. I appreciate that, TJ.
Perfect. Thanks for coming on, and I'll probably talk to you tomorrow or something. I know we check in with each other every day pretty much.
Yep. All right. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.